You know, it was brutal. I've seen, I don't recommend you go and look at it, but I've seen photos of the families and the Ukrainians at that time, and it's brutal, bro. Really. If you got a weak stomach, don't go and look at that stuff. They really went through hell. Good morning from a snowy Kyiv. I'm here in the city center today, and we're gonna go and check out and learn about possibly the darkest time in Ukrainian history. There's a memorial here for the Holodomor famine, or some may call it a genocide. So Stalin implemented forced collectivization of agriculture. So basically what he'd done is he took all the individual owned farms, and he tried to turn them into state-owned farms. So, you know, the Soviet Union would like own all of the grain and the stuff that they would have harvested as farmers. But the Ukrainians, they didn't like this idea. They resisted. They resisted. And then ultimately, between 1932 and 1933, the Stalin government, they took all the grain by force from the Ukrainians. And they like sealed the borders, they stopped the Ukrainians from leaving. And then ultimately, the Ukrainians, they started to die. You know, they died from starvation. They succumbed to diseases caused by malnutrition. And there are estimates, like the estimates are very unclear, but between 3 and 7 million Ukrainians died during this period, this 1 year. Now those numbers are 3 and 7 million are two very different numbers. So I guess the truth is not exactly sure. And of course, the Soviet Union being the Soviet Union, those numbers are probably completely inaccurate. You know, they lied about a lot of things, and I'm sure they lied about this, for sure. So it was only really after Ukraine's independence, after 1991, where they really started to educate the Ukrainian people about this famine. And I think in 2006, the world officially recognized it as a genocide. And it's one of the darkest periods, I think, in our modern history, for sure. You know, it was brutal. I've seen, I don't recommend you go and look at it, but I've seen photos and of the families and the Ukrainians at that time, and it is really nothing short of absolute, it's brutal, bro. Really. Like if you got a strong stomach, maybe go and have a look at it, but damn, if you got a weak stomach, don't go and look at that stuff. They really went through hell. And under the Soviet government, they really put them through hell. It's good that the collapse of the Soviet Union. Like, I know the Soviet Union has some cool things and an interesting history, but it really was a terrible thing, you know. It was no good. So next to the Holodomor monument, the memorial, we are actually in the Park of Eternal Glory. And this is like a park for the victory over the victory in World War II. So there are some monuments, some statues. Who are these guys? I guess they were pilots. There have been some removed. My guess is that they were Russian. Wow, look at that, that's really cool. So this is Ivan Mikitovich Kozdeyub. He was a pilot. So from this park you can walk all the way through. So just down the way here we have Arsenalna, which is one of the deepest metro stations in the world, and I think it was the deepest metro station in the world for a long time, until China. I think China recently built one, and now it's maybe like the second deepest metro station in the world. I'm not sure entirely how deep it is, but Arsenalna is down there. Amazing area. It used to be an area where they would build, I think they would build weapons there and make like gunpowder. Here we have an eternal flame. Today our view is a bit grey, but it's still a very interesting view. We'll go and take a walk through the park, enjoy the snow. It's like nearly the middle of April, so I'm so surprised that it's snowing. And it's settling on the ground as well. But to be fair, it is very cold. It's very cold today. Cool birds.